All right, very good. Moving on. So next question. Will there be, well, actually, you know what? This should come second. Let me redirect this question to follow the one I'm fixing to ask you now. Tell us about, again, more and specifically to the direction I'm gonna point you on the world to come. Is there a resurrection, a life after death in Judaism? Is heaven per se, is that going to be here on earth? Is it going to be up in the sky? What's the whole scope in Judaism to cover that rationale? Okay, so it's a lot of fun, juicy stuff here.
Oh, light topic. Finally, instead of all this heavy stuff, we're just talking about life after life after death. That's great. I'm great. Thanks for lightening up that up. No, I'm kidding. So
to further lighten that up, I like your beard. It looks pretty good on you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You're a good judge of quality and character. Appreciate that. You know what you're doing, William.
That's why you're on our show.
That's why I'm on the show. You know what you're doing. You're not an idiot. You know. This is the guy. If I want a decent show, I have to have on someone like Singer. What were we talking about? Oh, your life after death.
There you
go. Okay. So want to make this clear, but I need the listeners. People want to know what happens after a person dies. I'm not going to go all over the place on this because that would be there is a problem in discussing some of life after death, and that is part of it we really just can't apprehend. That means it's like trying to convey to an unborn child, a fetus, what Mozart is. It's very difficult. Someone who's blind from birth, what the color periwinkle blue looks like. I don't even know what it looks like. I heard it on commercial ones, so I know it is some sort of color. The key is that we can't plug into that completely. But I'll just, after a person dies, I'm going to make this really simple. This is, as in almost every answer I give, I am doing a lot of triage. I'm pulling back because I could spend hours discussing this topic.
Sure.
But in very simple terms, is life after death. That means the Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7, that after the person dies, the soul ascends to heaven. That is called the Olam Haba. It's called the Olam HaNeshamos, which means the world to come, or the world of souls. And in this is a completely spiritual world that's entirely different than ours, because the physical body, our ears, our eyes, all those things that are used to apprehend the world around us, they're not functioning at all any longer. But our neshama, our soul is. And our soul is eternal. It cannot be destroyed. So in that world is an entirely spiritual environment. And then, listen very carefully, there is a life after death. Now, I'm just going to say that again. I want you to listen very carefully. There's life after death. Okay. When Mashiach comes, after he comes, there is the resurrection of the dead. We are told in Scripture, in Isaiah 26:19, Daniel 12:2. Tanakh does not spend a lot of time on this topic because it just wants to know basic principles, but it doesn't want to threaten us with heaven and hell. There is mention of it. It's very passing. It's not like in the Christian Bible or heaven, hell, fire, breathing. We don't talk that way because the Bible doesn't talk that way. Bible talk that way because we can't apprehend it, and God's not going to threaten us with something that we can't see. But there is life after death, which means there is the resurrection of the dead, and in fact, the grave is only a temporary dwelling place. Shechnei Afar, those who are simply temporarily dwelling in the ground. Isaiah 26, verse 19. And then the soul is then restored to the body, and there's a physical resurrection of the dead in a world that is certainly perfected. But the only advantage, we have a very big advantage right now in the sense that in this world, we can be virtuous, because in this world, we have free will. In this world, there's an evil inclination. In this world, things are not so clear. I'm not quite sure why Israel was successful in the 67 war? Was it because Israel has great pilots and Jews are really smart, so they outwitted their Arab opponents? Or was it by God's Spirit rather than might? Well, that's tough. That's a tough call. How should I live my life? How should I behave? Is there, here's the time of struggle. So in Judaism, in Tanakh, in Scripture, this world's very, very important because this is the world that we can demonstrate our affection for God. This is the world we can really choose. This is the place where virtue is possible, right here, where we are right now. In the world to come is very valuable but God's glory will be profound. The whole world will know that arise and shine, your light has come, kings will go by your light. At that time, everyone will know God will be king of the world. He will, of the entire world, meaning that everyone will recognize the Almighty as God. He will be one. His name will be one. So therefore, but going back, so there is life after death. That's a completely spiritual place. That's where those who have passed away are now. That's where the neshamas are right now.
Okay.
And then there is going to be a resurrection where those souls are going to be restored, and from the bones, their body will be physically resurrected and restored.
That's beautiful.